Ay, cabrón.
I'm sure most of society at this point knows who this extremely handsome gentleman is. If you don't know who this is the only individual who I'm actually jealous of for his career. Like, personally, I love my career. I love being a YouTuber. I get to talk about sports. I get to talk about whatever the hell I want, and I'm blessed to have you guys listen to me. But this man literally gets paid for cooking meats and feeding it to people. He's famous. Odell Beckham Jr., stars and celebrities and influencers all fly to his restaurant just because he's so damn good at cooking meat. He cooks golden steaks and he does all this crazy stuff, and as a result, about a few years ago, he went viral. His name is Salt Bae, and honestly, he's one of my heroes. I would do anything to see this guy start a cooking YouTube channel so he could teach all of the men in society how to properly cook a steak. Now, typically, if you are in a relationship, I'd like to say at least 70 to 80% of your dates occur in restaurants, and I'm currently not in a serious relationship myself, so let me know if I'm incorrect here. But when you're a guy, say you just want to take your girl out on a nice date and you want to relax a little bit and eat some dinner, and maybe if you have a couple of extra racks lying around, you might want to go and take your girl somewhere a little bit fancier, someplace that's more, I don't know, Instagrammable, something that she could throw up on her Instagram story and flex for her friends and say, hey, look at what I did. My boyfriend treats me so nicely. So I'm assuming that in this instance, and the reason I'm bringing this up is Salt Bae is apparently caught in the midst of a very fascinating controversy. And it's a controversy that he's been caught in before. As a matter of fact, something very similar to this has happened before. Back in September, Salt Bae literally had a girl twerking in front of him, and he was sitting behind taking a video, and literally next thing you know, the girl's boyfriend storms in and gets really upset. And although I do understand that there's different levels of comfort that men have with the women that they're dating. Some men are cool with their girlfriends having OnlyFans accounts. Some men are a little bit more reserved and old-fashioned and conservative. But I do have one question. Why on earth is Salt Bae recording? I need to know the context of this video from September. If you're just in a relationship and you see your girl's like twerking for another man, the owner of the restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant's like recording her and you weren't there to begin with, I could understand that rubbing you some type of way. I can understand you being upset as a result of that. That's a perfectly rational reaction.
Ay, cabrón. What the fuck? Ay, cabrón.
But in this particular situation, I don't know. This is something that we might actually have to debate. You see, a kind gentleman is deciding, hey, I want to spoil my lady tonight. I'm going to take her to Salt Bae's restaurant. And well, there comes a point where Salt Bae does the grand presentation of the steak that they're going to be eating. He cuts up the steak. He does his little Salt Bae signature sprinkling of the salt on the steak. And then bam, cuts some of the steak up and proceeds to do this. Now, at first glance, if you look at this video, you might say, okay, I don't get it. He fed her a steak. What's the big deal about this? Well, take another look a little closely, and then we're going to show you guys some freeze frames. See, keep going, keep going, keep going, and here. Catch it? No? All right, this time I want you to rewatch the clip, but this time just look strictly at the boyfriend. Yeah, you see, the boyfriend might not be the most amused. He might be sitting there thinking, hey, the way my girl is eating this meat is a little provocative. But at the same time, I kind of can't help but wonder, how else is she supposed to eat a steak that's dangling off of a knife? Now, for some really ridiculous reason, for some really strange reason, this apparently is all Salt Bae's fault. The fact that Salt Bae fed the woman the meat and she's eating it all seductively is all Salt Bae's fault. In my personal opinion, I think that the girl was trying to tease her man a little bit, but I guess the man construed it as, hey, Why are you eating that meat so seductively? Why are you eating a different man's meat so seductively? Now look, I understand if you're a guy, naturally we're very jealous human beings. We could be somewhat insecure at times. That makes a lot of sense to me. I 100% understand. But blaming Salt Bae for your girl deciding to eat a piece of meat in a particular way is, well, kind of spineless. Because your girl was probably just trying to put on a show for you, and we could even prove that. Because want to see what the girl was doing later on during the night? Check this out. Now, I'm not saying that the girl's doing anything wrong. As a matter of fact, I think this is a sign of a completely healthy relationship between a man and a woman. I think subtly flirting and sending like these sexual tones to your man as you're on a legitimate public date is extremely healthy. But the fact that our society is taking this clip and is criticizing this clip, it just makes me feel like that our generation and our society is becoming a little bit overly sensitive and fairly soft. I wouldn't even be surprised if the guy wasn't that upset about the way the girl was eating the meat, but he just had a funny facial expression on his face. Maybe something else was going on. We're not exactly sure. All I do know is that I think that Salt Bae did nothing wrong in this instance.